sent you about Bari Weiss was one phone.
Morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayday Network. I am Michelle Kinney. This is Breaking the News with Julie Roginsky and Jeff Jarvis. Before we get started this morning, I would love for everyone to know about our latest episode of The Illegals, the Americans Rewatch podcast. We dropped the latest episode 4, last night. We broadcast that out on YouTube as well as Substack. We had a lot of people watching on Substack. So just if you're new here for the first time watching, this is something we're doing. We're rewatching The Americans with former military, media experts, critics, Russia experts, with some analysis and discussion you probably won't get anywhere else. So please join us for new episodes on Thursday. And we have those on Apple Podcasts as well. So without further ado, hello, guys. How are you? Lots of stuff going on. How's it going?
Good. Excellent. I just realized we're not streaming to Substack for some reason, which is weird. But good to see it. Good to see everybody. Lots of stuff going on, Jeff, especially over at CBS. From the White House Correspondents' dinner, which I have to say may be the worst event of all time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Cancel it, kill it, get rid of it, stop it. It's the essence of conflict of interest. It's access journalism, but it's worse.
And it always has been, which is so weird. It's always, and this is not even about Trump, it always has been. It's the worst thing on earth. And when I was at Fox, I refused to go. And I was down in DC for a party for a friend of my husband's, maybe about 4 years ago. And it happened to be at a restaurant right across from what is known as the Hinckley Hilton, the Hilton over on Connecticut Avenue in DC, where the White House Correspondents' dinner is typically held. Also the place where Ronald Reagan got shot, which is why it's called the Hinckley Hilton. And I was watching as we were pulling up to this restaurant, literally by coincidence across the street, all of these people in their stupid tuxes walking in. And I'm thinking exactly what you said, Jeff. It is such a horrible conflict. And it is just, I remember when MSNBC used to call it nerd prom, and they were so proud of themselves for going. It's not nerd prom. It's public access prom. It's conflict of interest prom.
I heard the parties are the best part anyways.
Well, but it's also it's not nerd prom because it's the cool kids meeting with the cool kids, right? It's the media cool kids.
It's all about who's on the inside. That's the worst of Washington.
Awful.
I've obviously never been, but I've been to the Webbies many times, guys.
So this year is so much worse for a bunch of reasons. Number one, we have a fascist regime. Number two, the fascist dictator is attending this year for the first time since Barack Obama made fun of him and apparently inspired him to run for president. And they chickened out on having a comic who could actually at least use comedy to speak some truth, and instead they have a medalist who's very entertaining, by the way, but this is ridiculous. And then we have the invitationalists of whom was invited by the various parties, starting with Bari Weiss inviting Pete Hegseth.
Unbelievable.
I mean, is it unbelievable though? It seems brand and believable to me. Of course we are in Substack. Sorry, Substack folks, I did not see them.
Yeah, I just looked over there. Yeah, we're there.
But just gross on every level. And of course, she'd invite Pete Hegseth. And P.S., just as soon as Pete Hegseth is no longer at the Pentagon, I predict that he will not be back at Fox because I don't think Fox wants to deal with his ass. I think he will be at CBS. And of course he will be.
You heard it here first.
Yep. Of course he will be. Or he'll be at CNN once they take over CNN. But I think he's too big for CNN in his mind. He'll be at CBS. He'll be a military analyst for CBS. And I have to say,
and then CNN, let's not forget. Pete Hegseth will be on CNN when the deal goes through.
Yeah, he'll be on both. And much like Scott Jackson, I mean, it's so gross. The guy is a crazy ass, radical, misogynist. I'm going to put aside his alcoholism. I'm going to put aside the various accusations of sexual misconduct. I'm going to put aside all of that, which is a big matzo ball to put aside. But I'm just, that's a big matzo ball hanging out there. But I'm only going to speak about what he's done at the Pentagon. He has fired women. He has fired people of color, specifically Black people. He refused to promote them. He has fired people who will not go along with his crazy messianic worldview. He has threatened the Pope. He has
likened the rescue of a pilot to the resurrection.
Yes,
he's a white Christian nationalist who's also like banning Catholics from Pentagon services.
Yep, he believes that this is a holy war, which is a crusade. Which, by the way, I remember going on Piers Morgan back when he was going through his confirmation hearings and talking about his crazy Deus Vult Crusader cross that he has, this Jerusalem cross that he has. And I remember Dave Rubin and all these other crazies who I was on with, and all these crazies on Twitter who came after me were like, the Crusades were fantastic, and how dare you? And there is a whole Crusader weirdo subculture out there, of which Pete Hegseth is a part. And they're literally sitting there, not just defending, kind of uplifting.
Yeah. Like on the bandwagon.
The Crusades, what next? Nazi Germany? Like the Crusades. So,
and here's my little trivia. I wonder whether any of the journalists, because it'd be a room filled with journalists at the dinner and at the parties, will track what Pete Hegseth is drinking that night.
But you know what, Jeff? No, because it's all part of the same little circle, and this is off the record, and we don't talk about this. And anybody who would track it is worried about not getting invited back next year.
Right. So speaking of invitations, Fox is having, according to Lachlan Cartwright at Breaker, Fox has Tulsi Gabbard coming and Sean Duffy.
Oh my Jesus!
Coming where? Like as
to the dinner.
Does MTV get a table? I mean, like
MS Now is inviting National DNC Chair Ken Martin. Reuters has FDA Commissioner Martin Macri, who was on MS Now this morning spouting BS. ABC, lucky ABC, has secured Susie Wiles.
Oh my Jesus!
The Guardian, God bless the Guardian. The Guardian shouldn't show up, but the Guardian is there. They invited Jane Fonda.
Fonda's gonna. Well, yeah. I mean, she's doing the first.
Oh, I'm sorry. She cited scheduling conflict, so she's not going to be there.
Yeah, scheduling conflict.
So instead, it has Georgia Fort, who was arrested on felony charges stemming from the protest in Minnesota. Don Lemon, beside Don Lemon, the executive director of Reporters Without Borders, co-editors of co-chiefs of PEN America. Okay, who cares? It's a ridiculous event. It speaks horribly to the White House press corps. It should go away. We've been screaming. Everybody of note has been screaming this for ages. Even HuffPost this year said they're not going at all.
Yeah, I was going to ask: are there any independent outlets like Daily Wire or something like that that's getting a table? I don't know how it works with the newbies.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. That may be why HuffPost isn't going, because BuzzFeed is about to go bankrupt.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that's why I asked. Like Daily Wire and Real, whatever it is. They've got money because they've got these cuckoo pants billionaires funding them. So,
look, I will say this. It is MS Now should not be going, period. Like you just don't go. You don't enable this shit. You just don't. You don't enable it. It is not a surprise to me that Fox is Tulsi Gabbard and Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy is, of course, married to his wife is the weekend anchor on Fox News, so not a surprise to me. A lovely woman, by the way.
And also Catholic, by the way, and they've been awfully quiet about all of this. So,
and in terms of Tulsi Gabbard, she'll be on Fox as soon as she's fired. I mean, it's actually interesting. If she's fired by Trump, she'll be on Fox tomorrow. She won't lobby Fox, but if she leaves on her own accord, she'll be on Fox.
Well, I like your little bingo game here as to who ends up on Fox and who ends up on CBS/CNN.
Well, the ones like Pam Bondi, I think is done because she got fired. Kristi Noem is done because she got fired.
So do they go to CBS instead of Fox? Is that the?
I don't know. I don't think they go anywhere. I don't think Bari Weiss.
Not to mention the two of them have voices for silent movies. Like, I mean, can you imagine?
But I also say this, like, Bari Weiss hires based on Israel. She just does.
Yeah.
And Pete's been very sort of Pete's exactly up her alley. Scott Jennings is exactly up her alley. And that's what her basis is. I mean, that is why she exists. And that's just the reality of what's happening right now. And so she's not going to hire Pam Bondi. She's not going to hire Kristi Noem because they don't advance her worldview, because I don't think they've said anything about this. But also they're of no use to her because they were fired by Trump.
Right.
Whereas if I were Tulsi Gabbard and I saw the writing on the wall, I would leave now and get myself a lucrative contract, either at Fox or CBS. Probably Fox.
Yeah.
So,
and meanwhile, at CBS, a few other things happened. We're about to lose Stephen Colbert, another voice of sense through comedy, to be replaced by Byron Allen's syndicated show Comics Unleashed.
What is that?
It's just pap. It's just pure. It might as well be America's Home Videos.
Yeah.
And it's a syndicated show, and so it's meaningless. It's cheap. It probably I wouldn't be surprised if it's an ad barter deal. They're just killing.
Yeah. It says here, comedy talk show hosted by Mr. Allen. Those episodes will be followed by 2 episodes of Funny You Should Ask, a game show hosted by John Kelly and produced by Mr. Allen's company, starting at 12:35. Sounds riveting.
But also he's paying for the time, so that's why CBS is doing it, because he's there. Yeah. So, I mean, God bless. Like, he wants to pay for the time. What CBS doesn't understand is Fox News already exists. So if you're deep MAGA, you don't need to watch CNN.
Yeah.
Or MSNBC, or sorry, CNN or CBS, because you already have Fox. So I don't know where they think they're going with this audience, because there's no audience for them.
I won't go watch.
And normal people are not going to watch. Why would you watch?
Right.
Why would you watch that and not Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah, exactly. Or even I cannot stand him, Jimmy Fallon.
I can't stand Jimmy Fallon either.
But versus Byron Allen, you'll watch Jimmy Fallon if you want pap.
Yeah. Because at least like his pap is like, is a little more, I don't know, palatable. Like,
I will never forgive.
A lot of millennial humor kind of stuff,
I will never forgive Jimmy Fallon for the whole.
For the
I know.
tussle.
I know. Yep. That was sort of the nail in the coffin for me as well. Yeah.
But it's all Jay Leno was just god awful. When I gave Jay Leno a bad review for his debut on TV Guide, he called. Well, did you really mean it? Yeah, Jay, I thought it was bad. It was boring. It was ridiculous. And that's Johnny Carson was the humor of a generation.
Yeah.
And then NBC just handed that time slot over to pure pap.
I know.
Dismissing David Letterman.
They could have had Letterman.
I know. Exactly. And Letterman, I mean, I'm such a huge Letterman fan. I always have been. And I put Colbert in the same category of highbrow sort of, smart comedy, like a little screwball, but like in a funny, like in a smart way. And the thing about Jay Leno too is that I will never forget, like growing up, like, in high school and stuff, Jay Leno being on, all of the jokes about Monica Lewinsky, all of the jokes about Britney Spears, about Hillary Clinton. I mean, the misogyny of his jokes are, even now to go back and watch them, are like your insides just curdle.
He was awful to Monica.
Really awful.
Awful to Monica Lewinsky. Everybody was awful to Monica Lewinsky. I mean,
yes,
that was a very different time. And Monica Lewinsky, like, talk about somebody that I wish all the best for everything she does.
100%. What an amazing woman.
Like, go, Monica Lewinsky. Whatever you want, you should have in life.
For the rest of your life.
Because this woman made a mistake at the age of 23 that has followed her for the rest of her life. Her last name became a verb. Like, it's just gross.
Yep.
But I'll tell you a Letterman story. So Letterman's son went to my son's school. And he graduated already. I think he's a Brown. But I used to see Letterman and his wife, who was very involved in the school, who's lovely, all the time at all the school events. And Letterman was really deeply engaged in the school, and people, like he would come to like meetings and just sit, raise his hand. And I mean, he was just a very deeply involved parent, as was his wife. But it's so interesting because I would see David Letterman all the time at these school events, and you're trying not to stare. You're trying not to be like, you're trying to be a normal human being. But to me, because I'm older than you, Michelle, David Letterman in high school and college was like our guy. Like, we would watch David Letterman.
Yes.
And just be like, this guy had this Gen X humor. He's not Gen X himself.
Remember when he used to throw stuff off the roof, like TVs and watermelons and stuff? It was the best.
Yeah.
He made fun of the medium while being a star in the medium. It was just
Trump.
a beautiful thing.
Long history making fun of Trump.
And Colbert, who is a wonderful guy also, lives in Montclair, New Jersey, teaches Sunday school, I think, to this day.
Yep.
Just a lovely person, as is his wife. And just
everyone on their birthday, like even people who don't work for him anymore, like
super humble, just a regular guy.
Principled.
Principled, like super principled. And I have to say, like, I'm not worried about Stephen Colbert. He's going
to go write a film, Lord of the Rings, with the son.
Well, I really want him to. I want his voice in the public discourse.
I do too.
He's going to run for office.
Netflix. I hope. Well, great. By the way,
I think he's going to run for office.
Let me say this to you. I think being governor or senator is almost too small for Stephen Colbert. I don't think he's going to run for president, but maybe. But first of all, I don't want him to run for president because I'm tired of celebrities running for president.
If there's a celebrity,
but I will tell you, if Cory Booker ever moves on, I think Andy Kim just got there, but if Cory Booker ever moves on and either gives up his seat to run for president or goes into cabinet with the next Democratic president, I would love for Stephen Colbert.
Al Franken done right.
Right. Yes.
Exactly.
And I have one more grievance I just want to communicate about Jay Leno.
Is it Festivus?
What he did to Conan O'Brien.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Will never
awful.
forgive him for.
Awful.
He was like, oh, I'm leaving. No, I'm not. And the whole thing was such bullshit. And Conan is a class act, always has been, always will be. I was such a mega Conan fan. Like when I first moved to New York in 2004, I had a Conan O'Brien nightlight. And I remember I was subletting an apartment. The best, just like the waft. And I was subletting apartment after apartment, every 2 months, just moving with a couple bags or whatever. And like that nightlight came with me everywhere. Conan was like, the best. I just, to this day, I still
still have it.
I don't. Somebody stole it. I think one of my random.
Oh, you gotta go on like eBay or something.
eBay and find it.
I know. And
so let me ask you a question, Michelle.
Yeah.
So, my parents, when my father wanted to be funny, he unknowingly, I think, imitated the rhythm of Johnny Carson. When my mother wanted to be funny, she imitated Lucille Ball. They were the comedy models, I think, for their generation. Yeah. For me, I think it was David Letterman, my generation. That's when, mass media was still mass media and we had a critical mass. For your generation, Michelle, I'll skip over you, Julie, for a second. On the Insiders podcast or the Americans podcast that we do, Julie is always pointing to me as the old guy. Well, you'll remember this, won't you, Jeff?
No, both of us. I've always.
But she includes herself. So we are the two old people there.
We're the two old people here. So
yes.
It's not
so Michelle, is there a comedy? Are there one or two comedy models for the next generation for yours?
Like stand up?
Oh, from wherever. I mean, Lucille Ball wasn't stand up, but I think that she had a huge impact on a couple generations.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. Why am I blanking? John Mulaney, I think, is definitely one.
Yeah, I kind of don't get him. Yeah.
I
didn't get the horse thing.
Yeah. Oh, that why is there a horse in a hospital? So funny. Gosh, I'm like
I wonder whether maybe there can't be anymore because maybe there isn't that critical mass.
Well, like Kate McKinnon, I mean, out of SNL, like sketch stuff, I would say like a Kate McKinnon, Bridesmaids, I
Tina
feel like
Fey.
like Kristen Wiig, you know what I mean? Because again, like growing up when I was very young, I mean, Sherry O'Terry and like Will Ferrell and them were,
Oh God, I couldn't stand that skit with Sherry O'Terry and Will Ferrell.
What?
The cheerleader thing, I couldn't.
Cheerleaders? I know, but they did so many good things together. It was so funny.
That. I will say though about Tina Fey, I think 30 Rock at its best was as good as Seinfeld.
The smartest show on television. That's why the ratings were never good, because it was too smart for America.
I mean, Alec Baldwin.
So funny.
I was in love with Jack Donaghy. Like,
so funny.
It's not Alec Baldwin, but it was. So, did you ever watch it, Jeff? Did you ever watch 30 Rock?
Oh yeah. I loved it. Well, because it skewered the medium that it is. It's what I love so much. I love about it. I live in mass media.
Yeah.
And for Letterman and 30 Rock to properly make fun of it and poke holes in it.
Letterman did something like 35 years ago, which I still remember, which was as I keep saying, he's not Gen X, but he's got such a Gen X sense of humor because he's so cynical and dry. Remember, he did this top 10, which for some reason I remember. I think I remember most of the top 10, but number one, I think, was like the top 10 was things that you think about right before you fall, like scary things that occur to you right before you're about to fall asleep. And and number one was, what if cats really is now and forever? And for some reason, I still remember it. And every time, like, first of all, Cats is the worst musical that's ever existed.
It's so bad. It's
so
not
bad.
about anything.
Now they're redoing Cats.
You can't fix it. You cannot fix it. No.
You can fix it by sort of doing this. It's a Jellicle Ball. They're trying to do
no.
Yeah. Nope. And every time, and Betty Buckley's in the New York Times was the original, whatever, memory cat. I forgot her name. But first of all, such a horrible musical. And I like Andrew Lloyd Webber typically, but that is just inexcusable. All of it. And also, I'm not a cat.
Just as an aside, in a conservatory musical theater program, I remember walking into my first sophomore class you actually get to start doing stuff. And I remember Rodney Scott Hudson saying, "There will be no singing of the Andrew Lloyd Webber in my classroom. Do you understand?" And so that was just kind of like, you didn't. But anyways.
Actually, my son, who is not a musical theater guy at all, because he's just not, but he is obsessed, as was I when I was little, with the soundtrack to Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I did Joseph. I've done
both
Joseph.
of us know it by heart. I'm gonna have the song stuck in my head, but that's the best Andrew, because that was a very cynical kind of like.
I think Jesus Christ Superstar is it though.
Jesus Christ Superstar is very good.
But, I think it's the best one. And Evita. I think Evita is amazing.
Yeah. All right, back to Bari Weiss.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So while Dylan Byers over at Puck continues to suck up to her, Oliver Darcy continues to do really good reporting on her.
Amazing.
And he's starting to report on the knives that are out at 60 Minutes.
Oh yeah.
And he quotes Variety indicating that Weiss will oust Tanya Simon as EP.
What a horrible mistake that would be.
Yes.
Tanya Simon is a lovely human being. She is a journalist. She is a wonderful person. She is doing the best she can under incredibly difficult circumstances. She is running Tanya. I love Tanya Simon. I know Tanya Simon. I love Tanya Simon. She's wonderful. And if he gets rid of her, there's going to be a mess. Like, he's going to destroy that show.
Well, I think that's the goal.
I think that's the point. Isn't it?
And
drive them out.
The revenue for 60 Minutes, aside from football, keeps that network afloat.
But again, that's not the point anymore.
I know.
They hate the money.
I know. Well,
the money.
At some point, the Ellisons are going to start. Listen, they've gone into massive debt. They vastly overpaid.
Well, they now have Middle East money.
They do.
Emirates money.
Right, but they vastly overpaid.
Yes.
Vastly overpaid for Paramount. They vastly are about to overpay for Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yep.
They have CNN, which is never going to turn a profit with their model. I don't give a shit if they think they're going to have digital subscribers. They're not. Because the people who watch CNN are all 100 years old. They don't get digital, and younger people are not getting their news from CNN, some would say.
No.
Or from MSNBC or any.
Speaking of, I just I subscribed to Oliver Darcy's today.
He's
amazing.
Oliver and team are great. It
Yeah.
reported today that at CNN, Mark Thompson just elevated Alex McCallum to COO. This is very inside baseball. Alex is a brilliant executive. I knew her when she was at the New York Times. New York Times, CNN, and one other place I can't remember. Absolutely brilliant. But it looks like Thompson is getting ready to say, goodbye, ship.
Well, let me say this. He can elevate her all he wants, but as soon as the new ownership comes in, they're going to bring in their own people. Bari Weiss is going to come in and Bigfoot Alex.
Well, and who would want that job when Bari Weiss is your job? Who's your boss? And Ellison's your boss.
She doesn't own a TV, guys. Bari Weiss does not own a television.
Speaking of CNN, can I just say something? Because I saw this tweet and it was so gross to me that I have to just point out, because I'm a big fan of Dana Bash. I think Dana Bash actually, I don't know how you guys feel about her, but I think
I like her.
Yeah.
I like her partner boyfriend is Spencer Garrett, who I think is also lovely.
He is? Oh, I didn't know that.
And
Really?
I think he is just fantastic. And by association, I'm like, good character here. We like.
Glenn Greenwald, who's such a malignant, toxic force, tweeted out this. We're in the middle of our most dangerous war in at least 2 decades, fueled by her, he's talking about Dana Bash, fueled by her precious Israel, and CNN's Dana Ruth Schwartz Bash is still prattling on about Hassan Piker and his supposed insensitivity towards Israel and the suffering of her people. And then he goes on. I don't give a shit how you feel about Hassan Piker. I don't give a shit how you feel about Israel. The fact that he called her Dana Ruth Schwartz Bash is so fucking anti-Semitic. It is.
Yes.
It's the same way that these Republicans used to say Barack Hussein Obama.
Yes, exactly.
Purely to bring attention to the fact that his middle name was Hussein. And this is gross. It's gross. You could have made the same point by just saying CNN's Dana Bash without saying her middle name.
It's like what Trump does to Jon Stewart. It's like, well, you know, his name's not Stewart, right? It's John Leibowitz.
Yeah. And you know, Donald Trump's last name is not Trump. It's
Trump.
It's Trump. So he can shut the F up too.
Can you do me a favor? So my wife and I were talking about this just last night. Can you explain Hassan Piker to me? I
cannot explain Hassan Piker to you other than
I can't get the whole contretemps.
I mean, the contretemps, I think, is that the Democratic, from my perspective, the Democratic Party or some elements of it are excusing his behavior, whereas Donald, you know, if character matters, the Democrats are saying that character matters when it comes to Trump and what he says. It should matter with Hassan Piker. I don't care if you agree with Hassan Piker's views. The way he frames things, I think, are deeply, deeply dangerous.
Or the way that he's like zapping his dog sitting behind him when he's on, like literally like electrocuting his dog.
How Christy known of him.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm gonna
but the argument is that it's a mistake for Mallory McMorrow to then criticize the candidate who won't disabuse himself of Piker because Michigan has a high Arab population and because young people are sympathetic to Gaza against Israel. Politically, I don't see how this plays out. I can't quite figure it out. Is it a tempest made up in media? Is there something to it?
Listen. I don't know. We'll find out. I think you've got Marilyn McMorrow in Michigan. For people who don't know, there's a very hot primary in Michigan. You've got Haley Stevens, who is the AIPAC candidate and also the candidate of the Democratic leadership in Washington. She's a congresswoman. She's establishment. She's not going to win this. You've got, I think his last name is El Said, he's running a lot of what he's saying is about Gaza, and he's the one campaigning with Hassan Piker. And then you've got Mallory McMorrow, who I think is a generational talent. I mean, I think
so too. I agree.
She's incredible. We had her on the show. She's phenomenal.
She's fantastic.
Also from Central New Jersey originally.
Yes.
And acknowledges the Central New Jersey.
And married to she used to work at Gawker.
Yeah.
With her
so
husband.
she's phenomenal. Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Yes.
I first of all, as much as Michigan has a very high Arab population, it's also got a very high Jewish population. So for anybody who there's about the same number of people in the Democratic primary. I don't think she has a choice but to criticize Hassan Piker because Hassan Piker, I'm going to put Israel aside. I know everybody's focused on his Israel views. He said awful things about women.
Yeah.
Said awful things about, I mean, he has
part of the gamer, like that's how he came to be, like is part of the gamer thing, which is deeply misogynistic.
So I don't like it, because you could make your point that you want to make without resorting to personal attacks on people. And I mean, he uses the C word. He calls people inbred all the time, including Orthodox Jews. Like, you can't do that, and not just Orthodox Jews. Like, you cannot do that. He thought October 7th and the rape of women on October 7th was excusable. Like, none of this is okay. It's just not. And I don't care if you, and he basically said, like, I don't care about October 7th, Hamas, I'll take 1,000 Hamases over October 7th, whatever it was. You can both sympathize with the Palestinians and what they're going through, but also understand that what happened on October 7th was inexcusable. The largest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. Like, it just was. And of children and of old people. And a lot of them were people who were working actually in the peace movement with Palestinians. Like, there's no excuse for that shit. And
it sounds like a setup. It was kind of all a setup.
I also he's the nephew of what's his face from the Young Turks also. Jake
Uger.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah.
And also I'm always really sort of fascinated by the response that at least I get when I criticize certain people on the left. When I've said anything about Bernie or anybody that's like in that wing of the party, or if I've said anything about Graham Plattner, like, there is an influx of comments, and not just like on my social media, but in this chat of people who watch the show, that come for me, like calling me names, all kinds of things, because I, don't appreciate things that they've said or done, or like whatever it is, or I don't agree, or just like, I don't agree with them, which, not to say I think that they're bad people or anything like that. Like, I just don't agree. There is a mob of people who come for you and say horrible things. And I feel triggered almost from 2016. When I remembered I was not a Bernie person. I supported Hillary. And the amount of, and I understand now that a lot of this was bots, but a lot of it wasn't. There was somebody from Trapper, what was it? Trapper House, something, whatever, like super left. I think they're actually right now. They've come around the horseshoe. One of them like went after me on Twitter. So badly, I had to shut my Twitter down for a week. It was so bad. So, it's just, there is like a certain flavor of mob mentality that comes when you criticize these people. And it's been similar with Hassan.
So it's kind of a setup for that. All right. So I'm not the host of the show, but there's things I want to hear, opinions I want to hear from you too.
You can be the host of the show. Go ahead.
And no. But we're gonna lose Julie at the top of the hour. So I want to get this wisdom in. The Maggie Haberman, Jonathan Swan early book chapter about how Trump got us into war. I'm curious whether you read that, and then I also sent you both a thread that tore it apart. I'm just curious. I think
I have the video of them from New York Times if you'd like me to play it, which kind of summarizes it.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to play that now.
Team, Donald Trump was the most hawkish when it came to Iran.
He decided to go to war on a gut feeling, period, full stop.
We did extensive interviews to find out how he made that decision.
On February 11th, Benjamin Netanyahu pitched the idea of joint Israel-U.S. strikes against Iran.
He lays out a very aggressive campaign to dismantle Iran's weapons systems. And then he also lays out some scenarios for regime change.
President Trump listened to this and he said, sounds good to me.
But what happened next was actually, in some ways, more interesting.
Overnight, U.S. intelligence analysts very quickly went to work.
The head of the CIA uses one word to describe the assessment of Netanyahu's regime change scenarios: farcical.
Within the next few weeks, there were a number of discussions about what might come next. There was not consensus.
These three Trump advisors show just how varied the opinions were in the administration. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, thought that this was a really good idea.
And it's not a surprise. He was very much chosen for the idea that he believes in flexing U.S. military muscle.
Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, was, I would say, skeptical about a full-scale war, would prefer to continue with a maximum pressure campaign, but was also skeptical that the Iranians would agree to a deal. So he was somewhat ambivalent.
The most actively opposed was Vice President J.D. Vance. He laid out various reasons why this could be complicated, from depleted munitions to the position of the U.S. going forward.
That it could lead to regional chaos, that it would break apart his coalition. Many of his voters would see that as a betrayal.
On February 26th, President Trump had a final go, no-go meeting with his team in the Situation Room.
Trump is sitting around the table with his inner circle. It's a very small group.
He asked what people thought.
And Vance starts by saying, well, you know, I think it's a bad idea, but if you do this, I'll support you.
Pete Hegseth remained where he was, believing that Iran was going to have to be dealt with anyway, might as well do it now.
And Rubio says, if the goal is regime change, we shouldn't do it. But if the goal is to degrade Iran's capabilities to wage war, their missile program, that's a goal that we can achieve.
At the end, when President Trump wanted to go forward,
almost everyone deferred to the president's gut instincts. They've watched him survive being indicted, being convicted, being shot.
They had seen him beat the odds so many times that it affects how they look at things and what might be doable.
And at 3:38 p.m. the next day, Donald Trump ordered the start of the Iran war.
So David R. Lurie in Twitter or Buzz, one of the socials, tore it apart, saying this is a prime example of the very worst of symbiotic insider account journalism, in which you can tell who the sources are because they make themselves look good. It is therefore extremely suspect accuracy. What is most notable is that every source portrays Trump as a buffoon and heaps blame on him for ignoring their purportedly sage advice.
Yeah.
This is a book chapter. For once, they brought it out earlier than the book because the time's there. I wonder what you thought of the report itself and the reaction to it.
So I think the report itself is exactly, first of all, I think it's obviously accurate, but I think it's also interesting that you're absolutely right. Everybody is trying to make themselves look good. This is a CYA situation. The sources were obviously Vance and Rubio and Wiles and whoever else, and Ratcliffe over at the CIA. It's just, it's you know who the sources are, and that's fine. I mean, they interestingly spoke. I don't know when they spoke, but they all understood how this was going to go and spoke accordingly. It doesn't mean that they didn't give Trump this advice. But what I find fascinating is that none of them is publicly resigning over this, despite the fact that they thought this was like the biggest mistake of all time. Like, you have one job, it's to protect this country, and you're not going to resign over this in public.
Until you're on the record, you own this shit as much as Donald Trump does.
And they're not on the record. At least go on the record. But they're not on the record.
Good point.
I will say this. You're absolutely right. For once, this came out earlier than the book. I am so utterly sick of subscribing to the New York Times and to all these other newspapers only to find that I have to buy a book in addition to that in order to find out what their reporters know 6 months or a year, 18 months, basically 18 months down the road. Like, my attitude is this: either go write books like Bob Woodward or work at the New York Times. And I say this as somebody who knows and likes Maggie Haberman, so this is not just about her, but I'm so sick of this shit. Because either, why am I subscribing to the Times? So I can spend $39.99 on your book 18 months later after it's way too late finding out what really happened. I'm glad that this time around they did this virtually in real time, but they were going to save it for the book.
Yeah.
And there's going to be other stuff in this book that goes back to last January. that we should have known about in real time that we're not going to know about until we buy the book.
Yep.
And my opinion of this all is that, and I apologize. I know that you are friends with her, but I do not like Maggie Haberman. I don't trust her. I think that she should have been a gossip columnist, not a New York Times political reporter. I think that she is one of the access journalists who, to your point, Julie, like doesn't tell us things that we need to know in a timely fashion. She waits for the book. And I think that she sweeps a lot of things under the rug in order to keep her relationship with Trump. And I think it's also really obvious, you know, she was the one who reported just the other day that JD Vance was, you know, against the war. You know, there was a blurb that she had published in the New York Times about that. And I'm like, okay, well, A, we know who the source is there, and B, bullshit. I don't believe it. I don't believe any of this. I think that they probably spoke out to an extent, but like they're all cowards. You know, again, I'm just repeating what you said about, you know, they're not on the record, right? Yeah. They're not on the record. So like, you're going to wear this like everything else. So like, it doesn't matter if you were behind the scenes against it or for it, because you didn't do anything about it. You stayed in your job and continued to kiss the ring. So,
well, and what's interesting is JD Vance, who purportedly was the most anti-involvement here, and his whole career has been about not getting involved in foreign wars,
right,
is defending the shit while he's abroad in Hungary.
Exactly. I was like, he's over with Orban this week.
And I just want to also mention something that I don't know why it's not on the front page of the New York Times, but it should be. Jared Kushner is negotiating over in Pakistan, apparently, with the Iranians. Now,
why? You don't even go here.
He was in the room for these war decisions when other cabinet members were kept out. Energy was kept out.
But let's be very clear. He is not going to do this unilaterally. This is a man who took $2 billion from Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And he took millions of dollars from the UAE. They have vested interest in the outcome of watching the Iranian regime fall. There is no bigger conflict. And by the way, as you said, he doesn't even go here. So he and Wyckoff, whose son runs a crypto fund for the Trump family, who knows who's putting money into that fund, because we don't know. It's all secret.
Right.
Both of them are negotiating something despite having massive conflicts of interest. Why is this not front page news? Why are we making Jared Kushner seem like a serious person? He has failed at everything he has ever touched. Everything. The guy fails up more than anybody else on earth. And yet he is taken seriously by the media, because he and Ivanka, nobody leaks more than the two of them. Nobody.
In their own interest, yes.
Oh, by the way, she's out on her own little like PR tour. I don't know if you saw the clip of her doing the podcast talking about her extraordinary mother and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I have a question about that, because in the midst of her podcast talking about her mother and crying on this podcast, which I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, obviously.
Sure.
I'm crying too.
Her mother died. Like, I get it.
But she's talking about how her grandmother, her mom's mom, lives with them down in Florida. Who gave her the visa? Under what authority is this Czech woman living in Florida?
Interesting.
And when did it happen?
Crazy. She's
It's not even that. You are deporting people for overstaying their visa. You are deporting people for coming here illegally. Did she get an Einstein visa too?
Speaking of Trump people who are coming in under questionable visas,
did she do chain migration?
I got one more question for both of you.
Yeah.
WTF, Melania?
Oh yeah, we just spent an hour at 9:00 talking about this because Lord have mercy.
Oh, Melania.
I wrote it in my book.
Melania, you have to look at my book to see what happened. Melania, obviously something's about to drop. I think Amanda Ungaro, who's Paolo Zampoli's ex, she's been all over Twitter threatening to blow the lid on Melania. Michael Wolff, who of course take this with a grain of salt, said that this is all about this book that just got published by HarperCollins.
I believe him and also don't trust him at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and yes, Donald Trump did post a snuff video to take away from this.
What?
I mean,
If I were that woman's family, I would be very upset.
yeah. So, yes, I think Melania did come here on an Epstein visa, but along with a lot of Eastern
Epstein
European.
visa?
I love that. I love
Not
that.
an Einstein visa, an Epstein visa.
I was like, wait a second.
Trademark that.
See what you did
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, who said that in the comments.
Yeah.
Rosie, you said that. Yep. So,
Awesome.
yeah, good job, Rosie. But yeah, I do too. I think Michelle should do this as Melania. That's it. My book.
I can switch between that and Sydney Sweeney for like an hour. It'll be
Oh.
great.
That's
the premium version you got to pay for, though.
Yeah. Okay, for Michelle doing
Subscribers
this
only.
Melania voice, right? I mean, whatever. These people are gross, and it's all going to come out eventually. But the media is falling down on this. They really,
absolutely.
Yeah,
big time. I would pay per view for that. I would too. Gentleman and lady, I gotta run. I have a call.
Yeah.
So good to see everybody here. I will see both of you for our Americans podcast. Michelle and I will be back tomorrow morning.
And I'll be back this evening for some coverage of the splashdown of the Artemis. They're splashing down outside San Diego, coming back to Earth. So we're going to do some
about Gaha asked on Substack, does Melania speak Russian as badly as English? I don't even think she speaks Slovenian well. I mean, I got to say, once again, as an immigrant, you've been here for 30 years, my friend. Learn how to speak the language. Learn how to speak, how to read.
It was a tribal statement.
No, it's unbelievable. Michelle and I just, went through, literally watched the video just at 9 o'clock and went through what she was saying. If it's more than 2 syllables, she can't read it.
Yeah.
She cannot read it. Like, what did, and then Michelle showed this video of Byron from when he was
it's so good.
Like four
I like
years
my suitcase.
old. He was speaking with a Slovenian accent. What? They're like, "Are you going to school?" Yes, I'm going to take my
school.
What are you going to Slovenian school? You go to an American school in New York City. Why can't you speak normal English? I say this again as somebody who didn't come. Like, I don't have an accent. Why does Byron Trump have an accent?
It's hard to imagine what conversations the three of them have.
I don't think any of them have.
I don't think Trump's had any conversation with his children before the age of 18, except for maybe Ivanka.
Yeah. All right, I got to run. So good to see everybody.
And just somebody asked in the comments, I'm gonna start the coverage of Artemis at 7:30 Eastern. So see you then, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Go read the book. Go read the book. Goodbye. Goodbye.